afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the entire staff of Beech Ridge Motor Speedway and the Cusack family, it's my pleasure to welcome you to Maine's oldest continually operating family-owned speedway. My name is Bruce Elder, your race commentator, and today it's Kids and Teens Day here at Beech Ridge Motor Speedway, and of course Mother's Day. And we wouldn't want to forget those most important people, and I hope you didn't forget your mom this morning. "12 cars to qualify from this first qualifying heat of the day for the limited sportsman. The rest will have to try to make the feature lineup by way of the consolation event. Assistant starter Junior Niles on the flag stand for this first qualifier. Pace car on the infield pit road looking for a start at turn 1. Lloyd Washburn on the hot seat. Tim Gendron is outside. Green is out. 3 wide goes the number 12 of Tim Gendron. Gendron from the outside jumps into a quick lead. Washburn gathers it up in second. It's a battle for third now. Steve Reno up the inside, challenging John Maycomber for the third spot. The number 2 on the move, that's the old Brad Layton number 2, piloted this year by Bill Dugan. Tim Gendron jumps out into a quick lead. Steve Reno now up the inside to take over second down the backstretch. That drops Lloyd Washburn back to third. The 2 goes way high. Tries to gather it back down. Remember, only 12 cars to qualify. Believe me, all of these drivers want to be in that top 12. Challenge is for third. Alan Burby put the pressure to the back bumper of the number 60 of Lloyd Washburn. Here comes Burby up the inside. Also, Chuck Haynes follows him through. Troubles on the number 60 of Lloyd Washburn as he takes it right out over the bank. Spin on the backstretch. Looks like the 58 of Paul Holstrom. Loses a lot of ground. Has put to not go a lap down. Caution flag is out as we have the 34 up against the backstretch wall. That's Bobby Shepard in the 34 up against the backstretch wall. Brings out the caution flag. We will have a quick realignment. Ready to restart with 4 laps down in this 15-lap limited sportsman qualifier. Assistant starter Junior Niles gives the drivers the all clear as they glance across to the flag stand, letting them know they better be ready when they reach turn 4. Flagman looking for a bumper-to-bumper and wheel-to-wheel alignment. Coming to turn 4. Tim Gendron now on the pole. Green is out at turn 4. Tim Gendron jumps right back in. Battle is for second. Alan Burby to the inside, Steve Reno to the outside. Chuck Haynes looking for racing room. Right now at the back bumper of the number 50. Reno gets just a little wide, and the advantage is to Barabee in that second spot as they cross the stripe. Steve Reno hung out there in the outside groove. Chuck Haynes trying to fill the third spot from the inside as he challenges Reno for third position. On the move is the number 70 of Jeff Morgan. The Morgan vehicle was very strong last week, but unfortunately found out of stock as he collected the feature event last week, only to find in tech inspection that he could not hang on to that win. And he is coming back with a vengeance, it looks like, this afternoon. All the way back up to challenge for the third position now comes Jeff Morgan in the black number 70. They'll be approaching the halfway mark next time by. Man on the move is Jeff Morgan in the number 70. Working to take over the third place position from the outside, Tim Gendron. Now has a mare full of Alan Burby in the number 50 as Barabee closes it up a bit on the back of the number 12. Morgan trying to rein in the top two cars, and it looks like he's going to do it as he closes the gap. The number 2 of Dugan going way high in the turns as the car apparently is suffering from a push. Got to take it down low now. Does a nice job getting beneath the 69 of Richard Olin. Top 3 tightened up now as the 70 of Jeff Morgan is right at the back bumper of the number 2 competitor. That's the number 50. He gets into the speed bumps. Hesta back out of it, loses some ground now. 74 of Gary Adams goes way high out of turn 4 after he had caught the 4th and 5th place competitors. Working lap number 12, smoke from the 69 of Richard Olin as he takes it way down to the inside of the track. Not a good sign. Just 2 to go next time by. Here that something is perhaps seizing up in the 69 of Richard Olin. That will bring out the caution flag as Jeff Morgan had taken over second spot. Meanwhile, we are ready to restart once again. 12 laps down. Assistant starter Junior Niles asks him to pick it up. Green is out. Tim Gendron once again makes the quick shift back into the lead. Top 4 trying to break away just a little bit. Alan Burraby now looks to find racing room to the inside. Could not find it. It will be 2 laps to go this time by. Tim Gendron, Alan Burraby, Jeff Morgan, and Chuck Haynes, the top 4. Then comes Gary Adams in the 5th spot. Jeff Morgan sets to the outside now. Try the outside lane to find a way around the second place car of Alan Burraby. White flag in the air. Jeff Morgan still in that outside groove, trying to see if he can make a bid to the outside of Alan Burraby. Going to do it down the backstretch. Keep your eyes on the number 70. Hard Charger trying to draw it even with the 50 of Alan Burraby. Can't quite do it. Checkered flag in the air. Gendron, Burraby, Morgan, Haynes, and Reno. Your top 5. Car into the wall right at the finish line. Flagman Eddie Walsh on the stand for the first Super Sportsman 10-lap heat of the afternoon. Lee Day, Bobby Cotton bring him down on the front line. Looking for a start at turn 4. Green is out. Lee Day with a slight edge as they race the front stretch to turn 1. Bobby Cotton trying to collect it up and challenge from the outside. Here comes Cotton up the backstretch, trying to draw it even as they approach turn 3. Still Lee Day holds the point. Out of turn 4, bring him down the first time. Lee Day hangs onto the lead. Then comes Bobby Cotton. The Ford of Butch Buzzell and the number 6 of Ken McLeod on the move. Lee Day stretching out a bit of a lead now as Bobby Cotton is trying to hold off Stevie Howard in the 03. The 15 on the outside. Buzzell gets it sideways out of turn 4. Does a nice job of collecting the car up. Hesta back right out of it, and that puts him back to the tail. Ken McLeod now sets to the outside, has the outside groove to himself, and he's on the move. Ken McLeod, feature winner here opening day. Was on a march to the front last week to challenge Bubba Pelton, only to have mechanical problems take the number 6 out of the race, but he has certainly been the class of the field so far this year in this all-new Super Sportsman division. Keep your eyes on the number 6. Ken McLeod up from the Limited Sportsman division from 1989 to try his hand in a late model last year. Said that he just kind of ran out of money, and this new Super Sportsman class was very attractive to him. Challenge now for second as Lee Day is looking to hold off the challenging Steve Howard in the 03. Side-by-side race for second. It'll be just 2 laps to go. As they cross the stripe this time by, it'll be 8 down and 2 to go. Steve Howard with about a 3/4 car length lead, tries to hang on to it, takes over second at the start-finish line. 3-way battle shaping up at the back of the pack as Bobby Cotton, Butch Buzzell, and Tim Maloney battle it out at the end, trying to work those cars in. Under the white flag is Ken McLeod, 1 lap to go. Ken McLeod once again showing the strength of the number 6. Checkered flag flies. First qualifier for the afternoon for the Super Sportsman. Ken McLeod once again. Andy Lude, always a hard charger. Struggled with a few mechanical problems so far this year. Winningest driver in the late model Sportsman ranks in 1990. 2 of the fastest late models right on the front row. Coming to turn 4. Green is out. Andy Lude right from the point. Jumps into a quick lead. From the outside, Paul Johnson working his way out and around the 15 of Bruce Rice. Side-by-side battle shaping up for the 4th spot. Gary Johnson and Scott Mulkern side-by-side battling for that 4th qualifying position. Gary Johnson with the advantage to take over 4th, dropping Mulkern back to 5th. The battle up front, Paul Johnson with a bumper right under the 56, dives to the inside now. Has to back out of it as Lude comes right back to the first groove. Andy Lude and Paul Johnson bumper to bumper down into turn 3. Fireworks about to be lit in turn 4. Andy Lude and Paul Johnson. Paul Johnson once again seems to have a little bit of extra power now, sets it in the outside groove. Paul Johnson, the 35, with a very impressive run here for the first of 3 American Canadian Tour races, coming all the way from 34th to 4th. Ran into some misfortune last week as he tangled with another car and damaged the radiator, could not continue. But the car has been very, very quick. Certainly one of the quickest late models here is the 35 of Paul Johnson. So far, unable to find a way around the 56 of Andy Lude. Both of these drivers hard-charging late model Sportsman contenders, veterans of the Beech Ridge Motor Speedway. Paul Johnson takes it outside now. Working lap number 8. It will be just 2 to go as they cross the stripe with Paul Johnson trying to mount a challenge to the outside of Andy Lude. 2 laps to go. Can Johnson do it? He's trying to draw it out of 2-turn to draw it even on the backstretch. Cannot quite do it. Trying again in turns 3 and 4. White flag is in the air, 1 lap to go. Paul Johnson still trying to mount that challenge on the outside. Out of 2 down the backstretch, it's still Andy Lude holding off Paul Johnson. Car over the bank, but the checkered flag is in the air. Andy Lude by about a fender over Paul Johnson. Then comes Gary Johnson, John Pippin, and David Bath to round out the top 5. Definitely a car to watch in the feature event, along with the 35 of Paul Johnson. Looking for a start at turn 4. Green is out. The Gelinas car sideways across the finish line, collected up. Robbie Dorr slides, does a nice job of avoiding the 21. Tough break for Kevin Gelinas. Robbie Dorr. That will bring out the caution flag as Robbie Dorr is unable to refire the 23 in time. Well, the alignment is correct. Flagman Eddie Walsh gives the drivers the all clear as they glance across to the flag stand. Dave Field Jr. on the point, looking to restart at turn 1, having gone nowhere yet. Green is out. Gordon Nelson from the outside with a slight advantage as they race the front stretch to turn 1. Gordon Nelson out of turn 2 down the backstretch has the lead. On the move is the number 54 of Rick Frenette, takes over second. Dropping Dave Field Jr. back to third. Remember, only 12 cars qualified. Gordon Nelson and Rick Frenette breaking away from the rest of the pack. The 83 of Donnie Whitten gets way high and loses a number of positions. Donnie Morse also up in the third groove, trying to work his way up from the back of the pack. Some of the top contenders in this limited sportsman division are sitting right at the rear of the pack. They've got to make their way up into the top 12 to be assured of a starting position in the feature event. If not, they'll have to try to do it in the consolation event. 12th place car appears to be the 83 right now, but he's losing ground. Dropped out of the top 12 as quick as that. Rick Frenette trying to rein in the 61 of Gordon Nelson. Side-by-side battle, Robert Bodwell and Ricky Libby battling for third. It goes to Bodwell. Here comes Jimmy Emerson up the inside to take over fourth. Darrell Ward following right up the inside. Dave Fecto on the move. Spin in the 3-turn. The 84 and the 23. Once again, Robbie Dorr in the wrong place at the wrong time. 15-lap qualifier. 12 cars to qualify for the main event. Flagman gives the all clear to the drivers as they cruise the backstretch. Looking for a start at turn 4. Flagman Eddie Walsh asks the drivers to keep it even. The 61 of Gordon Nelson on the point. Green is out. Slight advantage to Gordon Nelson at the start-finish line, racing into turn 1. Here comes Jimmy Emerson up the inside as he dives beneath the 54 of Rick Frenette. Emerson takes over the second spot in the number 73. Dropping Frenette back to third spot. Robert Bodwell Jr. in fourth spot. Side-by-side battle. Dave Fecto takes over fifth. The 78 of Dave Fecto. Darrell Ward back on the inside. It looks like the 12th place car is the 38 of B. Van Orton. Continues to be Gordon Nelson showing the way in the number 61. Jimmy Emerson in the 73, Rick Frenette in the 54, Robert Bodwell Jr. in the 56, and Darrell Ward in the number 80. They are approaching the halfway point. 8 down and 7 to go. Twelfth place and final qualified car right now appears to be the 88 of Mike Field. Only 12 cars qualify. You know that all those cars on the back of the pack want a qualifying position. Keep your eyes on it. 3 wide racing in turn 1. The 77 of Ricky Libby is turned. Looks like Phil Weeks and Ricky Libby off over the 2-turn along with the 23 Robbie Dorr once again. Something's wrong with this day. Every time there's a crash or a spin, he seems to be right behind it. Top 3 continue to show the way. Gordon Nelson, Jimmy Emerson, and Rick Frenette. Last qualified car appears to be the 75 of Donnie Morse. You count them back, only 12 qualified. Top 12 have broken away, leaving Mike Field, Dennis Quinn, Pee Wee Knight, outside of a qualifying position right now. The 19 of Phil Weeks appears to be the last qualified car right now. 3 of the top limited sportsmen sitting outside a qualifying position. White flag is in the air. Gordon Nelson now with a lot of pressure from Jimmy Emerson. They are in their last lap, looking to put the 23 of Robbie Dorr down a lap, and he's trying to prevent that. The 83 down in the speed bumps in front of the leaders. Here they come out of turn 4, checkered flag. Gordon Nelson, Emerson, Fournette, Bodwell, Darrell Ward with a daring try way to the outside, gets the car sideways, does a nice job of collecting it up. '61 is sponsored by Mainly Heating. Ready to start at turn 4. David Bath on the point. Green flag is out. David Bath, Russ Johnson show the way. Here comes Chris Rule up the inside, trying to challenge for second spot as he dives beneath the 19 of Russ Johnson. Chris Rule battling Johnson for second place. Here comes the 7 right up the inside. Johnson goes a little high. Inside lane getting the advantage as the 14, the 7, the 27, and the 93 all come right up the inside to take those top 5 spots, following the number 5 of Dave Bath. Dave Bath showing the way, also campaigning his late model Sportsman here so far this year. Of Chris Rule trying to make a bid on the outside. That opens up the inside to last week's feature winner, the 27, Richard Bubba Pelton, as he moves up now to fill that inside lane. No place for the 14 to go now, but to stay outside. Joining him in the outside rank comes the number 7 of a former limited sportsman champion, Kevin Durgan. Dead heat right now for the second qualifier as they approach the line. Cross the line even at the halfway point. 5 down and 5 to go. David Bath to the inside. Chris Rule to the outside. As they race the backstretch to turn 3. Slight advantage to Chris Rule. Out of turn 4 looking to the front stretch. Chris Rule with a slight advantage to the outside. About a bumper advantage over the 5 of David Bath. Chris Rule continues to, by inches, try to gain the advantage over the 5 of David Bath. Goes a little high out of turn 4. Here comes Bath up the inside. It's Bath this time across the line as they completed lap number 7. David Bath back on top. Bubba Pelton momentarily boxed in as he's at the back bumper of the number 5. Competition getting tight. It'll be 2 to go. David Bath back in the lead by a car length. Bubba Pelton at his back bumper, challenging beneath Chris Rule now. David Bath doing a nice job. Bubba Pelton, Chris Rule, wheel to wheel. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Side by side battle for second. Here comes Danny Palmer up the inside to take over 4th as the number 7 goes a little high. David Bath continues at the point. Side by side battle for second. Checkered flag in the air. David Bath, Bubba Pelton, Chris Rule, Danny Palmer, and Kevin Durgan. Competition tightening up in this all-new Super Sportsman division. As David Bath coasts down to the start-finish line, a nice round of applause, please, for the winner of the second qualifier of the day in the Super Sportsman division, David Bath, sponsored by the Weir's Motors Company, Route 1 in Arundel. Flagman Eddie Walsh says, keep it even, gentlemen, looking for a column of 2s, doesn't have it yet, and it will be a false start as we had kind of a single file start up front. Once again, they'll try it again. Joe Bowser to the inside, Barry Babb to the outside, out of turn 4. Green is out. Side by side into the two-turn. Bowser to the inside, Babb to the outside. Glenn Cusack right at the back bumper of the number 32 of Bowser. Bobby Libby to the outside. Bobby Babb coming up the inside. Bowser leads him down the first lap. Babb still trying to look for racing room on the outside. Glenn Cusack comes up to challenge for second in the Cherry Coke number 2. Glenn Cusack side by side with Barry Babb. Glenn Cusack now has the second spot in his hands. Barry Babb back to third. Here comes Bobby Babb. The Babb brothers running nose to tail in third and fourth place positions right now. Glenn Cusack looking to the outside momentarily of the 32. Sets it outside once again. Keep your eyes on the number 2 of Glenn Cusack down the backstretch, making a bid to the outside of Joe Bowser. The Babb brothers are side by side for third. Bobby Babb to the inside, Barry Babb to the outside. Glenn Cusack now trying to draw it even in turn 1. Can't quite do it. They'll be approaching the halfway mark next time by. It'll be 5 down and 5 to go when they cross the stripe. Continues to be Joe Bowser, Glenn Cusack, Bobby Babb, Barry Babb, Gary Pulsifer for the top 5. Mike Mayetta on the move, as is last week's. Hard charging Bobby Harrison in the 37. Barry Babb way up high now out of the groove. Takes it right out over the line. Glenn Cusack, meanwhile, continues to try to find a way to stick on the outside of that number 32. So far, he hasn't been able to do it. Joe Bowser, Glenn Cusack, Bobby Babb. It will be 2 to go this time by, says flagman Eddie Walsh. Letting Glenn Cusack know if he's going to do it, he's got just 2 laps to do it. Continues to work off the right rear quarter of the 32 of Joe Bowser. Bobby Babb momentarily boxed in. White flag flies. Babb and Cusack know they have just this last lap to find a way around Joe Bowser. Glenn Cusack to the outside. Here comes Babb up the inside in the Hall implement. Veteran number 4. Checkered flag in the air. Bowser hangs on. Cusack, Babb, Mayetta, and Pulsifer. Nice round of applause for the winner of heat number 2 for the late model Sportsman division, Joe Bowser in the Futuristone Maine State Academy of Hair Design award-winning number 32. Looking for a start in turn 4. Green is out. 3 and 4 wide. They exit turn 4. The number 8 of Dave McCubry shows the way down the backstretch. Al Roberts now in a sandwich. Robbie Herrick works to the outside of the 63 of Roberts. Then comes the 64, I believe, is Rick Verrill, riding in 4th place position. Challenge up front, almost 3 wide. Al Roberts, Dave McCubry, Robbie Herrick. Now coming up the inside is 64 of Rick Verrill. Verrill works his way beneath the number 8 of McCubry to take over second. Tangle in the 1 turn. 2 cars off to the inside trying to refire. That brings out the caution flag. As the 53 is able to get underway, that's Don Miner. Have another car sitting off the inside of the track. But right now, we're ready to restart this afternoon's Limited Sportsman semi-feature of the day as assistant starter Junior Niles gives the all clear to the drivers as they glance across from the Backstretch. Pace car on the infield pit road. Green is out at 4. Scramble for the lead. Al Roberts right from the point. Robbie Herrick on the inside. Dave McHugh to the outside. Rick Verrill coming up the inside. Here comes Robbie Herrick now with a bed to the inside for the lead. Robbie Herrick to the inside. Al Roberts to the outside. Robbie Herrick in the 86, the new leader. Car into the wall out of turn 4 brings out the caution flag. The number 3 into the concrete down off from turn 4. Number 3 is driven by David Raymond. Appears as though he is all right. So I'm take the helmet off there in the car, and looks like he's preparing to climb out of the car. Give you a report just as soon as we get radio contact. He is climbing out of the car, apparently okay. Safety crew indicates that he's telling them he's fine. Yeah, we'll get back to that because right now we're ready to restart this afternoon's semi-feature. Al Roberts back on the pole. Robbie Herrick to the outside. Turn 4. Green is out. Al Roberts back in the lead. Robbie Herrick will have to try to do it once again. Robbie Herrick working to the outside of Al Roberts. 3 wide racing on the backstretch. Larry Jelinas makes it good, but the 04 is in a spin as they enter turn 3. He's okay. Roberts hanging on to a slim lead over Robbie Herrick as they race to turns 1 and 2. Al Roberts in the 63. Trying to hold off the hard-charging Robbie Herrick in this semi-feature event. Al Roberts gets it out of shape. That opens up the inside for Robbie Herrick. Don Tapley Jr. on the move in the number 15. Black flag is out for the number 93. The smoke continues to pour. The 15 of Don Tapley spins into the infield. He appears to be okay. Gets the car back underway. Leader is Robbie Herrick. Herrick, then comes Roberts in the 63. Rick Verrill in the 64. Larry Jelinas on the move as he works to take over the 4th place position in turn 3. Eric Lund in a side-by-side battle with Larry Jelinas. Jelinas takes over 4. Rick Verrill now tries beneath the 63 of Roberts. Roberts goes a little high, and Rick Verrill comes up the inside. Larry Jelinas also on the move as he has caught the 2nd and 3rd place contenders. Works beneath the 63 of Roberts. Taking over 3rd spot is Larry Jelinas in the number 37, right at the back bumper of the 64. Larry Jelinas appears to have more power than perhaps there's room for him to use right there. Now looks to the outside of the Verrill number 64. Larry Jelinas, the man on the move in the number 37. Verrill to the inside, Jelinas to the outside. Slight advantage on the backstretch to Larry Jelinas as they race to turn 3. Verrill right back on the hammer on the inside, draws it even out of turn 4, but Larry Jelinas takes over at the start-finish line. Now sets his sight on race leader Robbie Herrick. Question is, will Larry Jelinas have time enough? 37, probably the fastest car on the track right now, but he's got to be running out of laps. Black flag going out to the 13 of Ed Gallant. Cars sideways in the 4 turn. Do a nice job of hanging on to it. That is the 47 of Chris Grondin, a rookie. 2 laps to go. It'll be just 2 laps to go next time by, and Larry Gelinas is looking to make a bid to the outside of Robbie Herrick. 2 laps to go. Lap traffic could enter into the whole decision here on this afternoon's semi-feature event. Robbie Herrick elects to go beneath the 53. 53 is Don Miner. Both cars work their way by. The 47 now of rookie Chris Grondin. And the 86, both cars go to the outside. Grondin trying to hold the car down to the inside, but Larry Gelinas decides to go under the 47 anyway. White flag in the air. That opened up a little bit of room for Robbie Herrick. Checkered flag flies for the 86 of Robbie Herrick. Then comes Larry Gelinas, Rick Verrill, Eric Lunn. Limited Sportsman semi-feature. Looking to put the top finishers into a position to run the qualifying heats. What a bit of driving by Chris Grondin. Just a rookie. Takes the car right into the infield. Missed that 125. Robbie Herrick coasts down to the start-finish line, winner of this afternoon's Limited Sportsman semi-feature of the day. Let's have a nice round of applause for Robbie Herrick. Eight cars to qualify. Only 8 cars to qualify for the main event. Dennis Hall and Dennis Quinn on the point. Flagman Eddie Walsh asks the drivers to keep it even. Looking for a start out of turn 4. Green is out. Dennis Hall jumps into a quick lead. Quinn gets it right down to the inside groove. Side by side battle for third. Pee Wee Knight working from the outside. Knight in the 111. Runner-up in the 1990 season in the Limited Sportsman division, wasting no time to put the 111 to the front. 111, new leader in lap 1. Dennis Quinn trying to follow suit from the outside. Dennis Quinn in the 06, working to the outside of the 94 of Dennis Hall. Dave Field Jr. trying to make the move on the outside. Goes a little too high. That opens up the inside row. There's the 58 of Holstrom. Works to the inside along with Robbie Dorr. Phil Weeks working to the outside in the number 19. Only 8 cars to qualify. Looks like the 77 of Ricky Libby is the last qualified car right now. Cars scrambling from the back of the pack, trying to desperately work a way up into a qualifying position. Cars get together going into the 1 turn. Bobby Shepard and the 84 of Dave Field Jr. Shepard on the move in the number 34, trying to work his way up into a qualifying position. And he has done it. Bobby Shepard now, the last qualifier. And he's trying to better that by 1 position as he works underneath the 77 of Ricky Libby and takes over 7th place position. Now the 77 is the last qualified car. Side-by-side battle for the 3rd position. Dennis Hall working to the inside. Cars hooked together and into the infield. Donnie Whitten in the 83. Paul Hallstrom in the 58. Hooked together. That takes them out of contention here for a qualifying position. Meanwhile, the top 2 cars have kind of run away from the rest of the pack. That's Pee Wee Knight in the 111 and Dennis Quinn in the 06. They are at the halfway point. 34 still the last qualified car, it appears to be. Gene Terrio has worked himself up into a qualified position. Looks like the 77 would hold the 8th qualifying position, as the 83 is a lap car. Two-car race at the front. Pee Wee Knight and Dennis Quinn have just run away from the rest of the pack. Robbie Dorr has taken over 3rd. Dennis Hall is 4th. Phil Weeks is 5th. Looks like the 104 is now the last qualified car. Just 2 laps to go next time by, as flagman Eddie Walsh indicates 2 to go when the cars cross the stripe this time. Looks like the 8th place qualifier is the 32 of Guy Poulin. Cars working the final 2 laps. .32 appears to be unofficially the last qualified car. White flag in the air for the 111 and the 06, as they have a comfortable lead over the rest of the pack. Phil Weber trying desperately to get into that last qualifying position as he races to the back bumper of the 32 of Guy Poulin. Checkered flag in the air. Consolation going to Pee Wee Knight. Unofficially, the 104 appeared to be the last qualified car for the main event. Come just a little bit later on.
Our Track Chat guest today was last week's late model sportsman feature winner. He's no stranger to the winner's circle. Would you please welcome out a gentleman who really doesn't need much of an introduction for you regulars here, Mr. Bob Randall. Welcome, Bob. Good to see you. Do you ever carry water jugs in the car on a regular race? I know you do on some of the bigger ones.
No, not as a rule. Not in a small race. The big ones we put one in.
Well, kind of some big changes we addressed slightly last week after your feature win. A good chance for you now where we have some time to elaborate a little bit more. Some of the changes for Bob Randall this year. It's a big change, a financial change and everything for you with the car. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, at the end of last season, we had pretty much decided that we just couldn't afford it the way the economy is, the way, you know, we run a small business, an auto repair business, and money was just to a point that I'd made up my mind that I'm going to sell the car and hopefully somebody would buy it and have me drive it, or we'd just have to get out of it. And luckily Larry Cates came along from Cates Car Connection, who I've known quite a few years, is a real good friend. He bought the team, and you couldn't ask for a better car owner, you know. Anything we need, and you know, he's super all the guys, everybody likes him. We still keep the car at my house, same crew works on it, and he's just paying the bills, which makes it a lot easier on me.
How does that affect you when you're out there driving the car? He's a friend of yours and everything, but you've always been your own man, always owned the team and everything, and that has to make your driving a little bit easier when you're in charge of the purse strings and everything, and you know what that's going to affect. But how does it affect you now when you're out there driving? Is that on your mind at all about damaging the car? Or?
No, I don't really feel any different about it. I've never really, you know, I have a lot of respect for equipment, and my own and everybody else's, and it really hasn't affected the way I drive.
How's the car going today in general? Last week, well, tell us a little bit about last week, because the car seemed to be dialed in pretty well, but you said there were some problems with the tires. Took you a minute to get used to those. What's it like today?
Well, yeah, you know, because we got it adjusted in a lot quicker today. You know, I think the car's going equally as well. It's going to be tougher, obviously, because we're going to start from the tail end this week. But if things work right and the cautions work right and we're not the ones involved in it, maybe we'll get a chance to run to the front. Of course, Paul Johnson and Andy and them are starting up front this week, and they're going to be tough. So, we just hope we can run good and have a good finish.
Given a good race today and not a lot of clutter in front of you that you're having trouble getting around, are you able to win from the back today?
Oh yeah, I think our chances are as good as anybody. The car's working real well. Like I told you once, Larry sent one of my guys, the crew chief, Todd Graffam, out to Michigan this winter for a chassis seminar, which really was a good thing for us. I think the car is working better than we've ever had it working, and it really paid off. I think it's paid him back already for the money invested.
It seems to have. The car's been going beautifully. You've been around here since the mid-'70s for so long. You're certainly one of the veteran drivers out here now. Beech Ridge in general, some of the changes, or racing in general, from your shoes, how has it changed over the years? From the equipment you use, the cars you use, to the racetrack you're racing on, and you've been touring. Tell us a little bit about that, the changes you've seen. What strikes you most, maybe?
Well, the equipment, of course, is just changed drastically over the years. Everything's a lot more sophisticated. There's no more junkyard equipment anymore if you want to run up front, or at least not too many guys can do it. As far as the racetracks, like Beech Ridge Speedway has just changed immensely. It's nicer, it's cleaner, it's just a real nice family atmosphere, and I think that all the racetracks have tried to go that way. Some of them haven't been as successful as you people, but everything is just, it's gone away from the days of the moonshine runners and the fights and the this and the that. It's a lot better, just a lot better form of entertainment now than it was 20 years ago.
You've been around with the American Canadian Tour. You've been at a lot of different tracks for open comp races on your own. Do you have a favorite track that you like to run at? Any one that just gives you that special feeling as far as the track itself and how the car just goes great?
Well, there's no place like Beech Ridge Speedway to me.
It's an unpaid endorsement, by the way. We didn't have this planned ahead of time, but what's in the future for Bob Randall now? We talked a little bit about this last year, and last year when we sat out here, you knew the financial situation was such that you may not be able to keep coming back year after year. Now that's changed. Well, with the financial end taken care of, what happens now down the road? Is there a time, we asked Mike Maeta last week, is there a point where you're saying it's probably going to have to be time to step out?
Well, I hope that time won't come for another 20 years, but I'm sure it's going to. It's just something you got to feel out. If I get to the point that I did not feel I was competitive or I was uncomfortable in the race car, I would walk away from it. That's all.
Looking at the rest of your competitors, and maybe not just particularly in late model Sportsman, although I suspect you watch them much more closely, is there a standout new driver, or maybe one that's been around for a while that you've looked at, and we'll trust the late model drivers are back there in the pit area and won't get swelled heads if you call one of their names, but is there a driver where you said, man, that kid or that guy's got it and he's going to develop into something? Can you see something down the road for somebody?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of guys, given the right equipment and everything, that are going to be real good. I mean, of course, Brad is a perfect example of that. Kenny McLeod's a good, another good example. Danny Palmer. There's a bunch of them that they're going to keep coming up. Hopefully, their chances will come. They'll have their championships and whatever.
Perhaps 4 like yourself. Something cute happened that a lot of you people probably didn't get to see when Bob first drove out here onto the racetrack. He walked by me. He said, it's going to be just a second. He said, I have to stop up by the fence. And you took some money up with you. Who was that you went to see? It was kind of cute to watch you responding there.
Oh, that's my grandson. In fact, he's kind of part of our pit crew. He comes down, he lives right next door to us, and he likes to come down and help us do whatever he can, pick up around the garage, peel off decals, touch up paint. I just wanted to make sure he had some money.
Well, I want you to know that it was enjoyable for us to watch and for those that could see it, and now that those that know the story. And it's nice to see that race drivers Sometimes we put you up on these pedestals that you're just these magnificent, wonderful people that maybe aren't just like me and other people in this grandstand, but it's nice to see what you did there today, and that's a real class act, and it shows you're a family man. You've got more than one grandson, too, don't you?
Yeah, we have 5 grandchildren and 1 more on the way, and we love them all to pieces. We spend all our spare time, you know, going to visit them, or having them come visit us. We really enjoy them.
Well, in closing, let me say that you don't look like a man that has 5 grandchildren. I'll tell you, you are certainly holding up extremely well under the pressures of racing, and this must be doing you some good.
Well, I hope so.
You have a race to run this afternoon. We'd like to let you get back to the pit area and get things set for that. We'd like to thank you, too, for being out here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a nice, warm thank you to the man from Sanford, Maine with 4 championships. Wish him well, Mr. Bob Randall.
1, 2, 3, gentlemen, Now, ladies and gentlemen, as they exit the 4-turn, head down the front straightaway, wave your hat, your handkerchief, send these drivers on their way with your best wishes. 30 laps on tap this afternoon for the limited Sportsman contenders in the feature event. Just 30 laps. 32 cars. Flagman Eddie Walsh gives the all clear as drivers glance across to the flag stand. The pace car enters the infield pit road. Tim Gendron on the hot spot. Out of turn 4. Green flag. Tim Gendron to the inside. Steve Reno to the outside. 2-car battle shaping up for the lead right in the first lap. Tim Gendron holds it into turn 4. Steve Reno looking for room beneath the number 12. Can't quite find it that time by. Continues to look beneath the number 12, but Tim Gendron holds it right on the pole. Battle shaping up for third. 4 cars vying for that third spot. Caution flag comes out as Pee Wee Knight and Donnie Morse are hooked together out over the top of turn 4. Flagman Eddie Walsh signals all clear as the drivers glance across to the flag stand, knowing they'd better be ready at turn 4. Pace car is on the infield pit road. Flagman asking the drivers to keep it even at turn 4. Green is out. Tim Gendron with a slight advantage as they race the front stretch to turn 1, puts the whole car ahead at turn 2. The battle now is for third place. John Maycomber, Chuck Haynes, and Gary Adams, all vying for that third place spot. Steve Reno with a nice move takes over the lead, working in lap number 3. New leader, Steve Reno in the number 7, as he puts the move on the number 12 and does it successfully. 12 getting a little loose, having a little handling problem. 3 abreast down the front stretch. Battle for number 3 position goes to Gary Adams in the number 74. Chuck Haynes hung on the outside. Haynes trying to take over the 4th place position. He does momentarily anyway in the 4th turn. John Maycomber fighting back on the inside. Slight advantage in that position goes to Chuck Haynes. But it's still pretty much a side-by-side battle for position number 4. And Speaking of a side-by-side battle, look at the back of that pack. A lot of the heavy hitters looking to work their way up through the pack. Brent in the number 9 is over the 4 turns, slides to a stop. Have a tangle right here in the front stretch. And in turn 2 brings out the caution flag. Robbie Dorr and Billy Thompson get together right here in the main stretch. Billy Thompson able to drive away with a flat right front tire. Five laps down now, and we will start it all over again. Lights are out on the Lumina pace car from Pape Chevrolet. Flagman Eddie Walsh signals all clear as the drivers glance across. Robbie Dorr able to make repairs and put the 23 back in competition. Pace car heads onto the infield pit road. Flagman Eddie Walsh asks the drivers to hold it even. Reno and Gendron. Green is out. Steve Reno jumps into a quick lead right from the point. Gendron in second. Adams up to third. Here comes Chuck Haynes on the outside. Takes over third with a burst of speed from the outside. Chuck Haynes in the 68 with a nice move to take over third spot. Gary Adams fourth. Alan Burraby is fifth. Working in lap number 7. Cars 3 abreast on the backstretch. Cars trying to work their way up from the back of the pack. Many times it takes a bit of 3 abreast racing. Robert Bodwell hanging it out right over the white line, trying to make some ground from the back of the pack. Hard way to do it, however. Today, experiencing some problems. It looks like he's headed onto pit road. Steve Reno and Tim Gendron have kind of broken away from the rest of the pack. 2-car race up front right now. Chuck Haynes trying to hold off Gary Adams and Alan Burraby. Then comes Steve Winslow and a double file right back through the pack. Jeff Morgan trying to find racing room in the number 70. As he is momentarily blocked in. Cars tangle in the 3 turn. And once again is Robbie Dorr in the 23, this time with Mike Field. And that brings out the caution flag once again. They'll look for a start at turn 4. 10 laps down in this 30-lap limited sportsman feature event. Pace car makes its way onto the infield pit road. Steve Reno on the point. To his outside, Tim Gendron. Turn 4. Green is out. Cars uneven as they race across the stripe. Into turn 1, side by side. Reno to the inside, Gendron to the outside. Gary Adams in third. Reno with a slight advantage down the backstretch into turn 3. Steve Winslow on the move in the number 10. Once again, Reno and Gendron put some distance on the rest of the pack. Gary Adams hangs on a third. Steve Winslow up to fourth. Side-by-side battle for fifth. Alan Burraby and Chuck Haynes. Reno begins to put a little more distance on the number 12 as the 12 seem to get out of shape just a little bit going down into turn 3. Have to wonder if he might have a tire going down or something. 12 appeared to get a little loose. Cars working in lap number 14. Steve Reno with about a 6 or 7 car length lead over Tim Gendron. Then comes the 74 of Gary Adams. Slight gap back to the 4th place position. Steve Winslow now with a strong challenge to the outside coming from Rick Furnett. Alan Burraby to the inside. Jeff Morgan also on the inside. Man on the move appears to be the 54 of Rick Frenette as he moves to the outside of the number 10, challenging for the 4th place position. Rick Frenette on the move, takes over 4th place, sets his sights on 3rd. Keep your eyes on the number 4. Number 12 gets sideways halfway down the backstretch. That takes the 74 of Adams right into the sand. Adams loses a bunch of positions. All the drivers back off at the end of the pack. Win right out into the sand. And all the way to the rear. Meanwhile, Steve Reno has the track to himself and is just out front cruising. Cars racing 3 wide now in the 4 turn. Rick Frenette has worked his way up to 2nd. Jeff Morgan is up to 3rd. Those 2 cars on the move. The 54 of Frenette, the 70 of Morgan. Also, Pee Wee Knight looking for racing room. Can't seem to find it as he follows the 78, has the 68 to his outside. Cars working in lap number 20 of this 30-lap feature event. Challenge to the leader now. Rick Frenette working to the outside of the number 7 of Steve Reno. Rick Frenette has covered a lot of ground. Now mounting the challenge to the outside of the number 7 of Reno. Frenette trying to draw it even as they race the 3 and 4 turn. Morgan taking the opportunity to fill the inside lane. Now Frenette has no place to go but stay on the outside. Reno trying to hold off 2 hard charges now at his back bumper. Jeff Morgan and Rick Frenette. Frenette tries to draw it even. Can't quite do it as Reno gets back on the hammer. Down the backstretch once again. Frenette will try to the outside. Puts a fender ahead in the 3 turn. Here comes Reno back on the inside. Reno still the leader as they exit turn 4. Dead heat at the start-finish line. Frenette now again with a fender ahead, but Reno fights back. Here comes Morgan right up the inside. Morgan boxed in. Can't get to the outside because Frenette sits to his outside. Pee Wee Knight is broken free of the pack. Something lets go in the number 70. Perhaps a rear end or a transmission. Something has gone awry in the number 70. Frenette tries again. Turn 4. Reno fights back on the inside again. Now Frenette's going to try the inside. Desperately trying to find a way around as the cars are now down to the last 5 laps. Rick Frenette dives beneath the number 7. This time he holds it inside, takes over the lead out of turn 4 as they complete lap 26. Cars tangle off the 3 and 4 turn. New leader Rick Frenette in the number 54. Steve Reno is 2nd, Pee Wee Knight 3rd. Ron Smith has come up to 4th. Working lap number 27. It will be 2 to go next time by. Problems on the 74 of Gary Adams as he takes the car way to the outside. 2 laps indicated by flagman Eddie Walsh, and Rick Frenette with a surge of power has put distance on the former leader, Steve Reno. Reno with a fairly comfortable hold on 2nd place as the white flag goes in the air. 1 lap to go. Rick Frenette, your leader. Steve Reno 2nd. Pee Wee Knight 3rd. Ron Smith is 4th. And Dave Fecto 5th. Cars tangle out of turn 4. Bill Dugan does a nice job of holding the number 2. Checkered flag flies for the 54 of Rick Frenette. Steve Reno, Pee Wee Knight. Ron Smith, last week's feature winner, works his way from the back all the way up to 4th, and Dave Fecto is 5th. Nice round of applause as Rick Burnett comes down and collects up the colors from flagman Andy Walsh. His first feature event of the 1991 season, always a hard charger. Rick Burnett out of Waterboro, Maine, driving a Chevrolet Camaro. Car is owned by Tom Bragg, sponsored by Dayton Used Cars and Trucks, Bragg's Auto Repair. Finished 4th in the point standings in the 1990 season. Always a hard charger. Young Rick Burnett. Just a few moments, we'll be going trackside to get a chance to hear from this afternoon's Limited Sportsman feature winner. He returns the colors to flagman Eddie Walsh.
Tell us a little bit about today. While you were out there, it kind of looked like you were out there for a Sunday drive once you got past Steve Reno. Was Reno a good, hard competitor today?
Yeah, well, we're having a little hard time running the outside groove, but, you know, we just try to stay with it till we get it hooked up, and there's a lot of cars going real good this year.
Since the development of the Super Sportsman division, the likes of Kevin Durgan and some of the top drivers, Kenny McLeod, have moved up into that division. You certainly are one of now the veterans of the Limited Sportsman division and stand to be one of the favorites for the championship as far as most other people's minds go. How do you view that?
Well, just try for the best and hope for the best. That's all, Andy.
What do you think? At the end of the year, do you have a shot at the championship? You've been close before.
Yeah, I've been close for a few years. Hopefully this year we'll be real close or get there anyways.
What's the closest you've been before? Because you've been into the top finishing positions before, and it's just never quite been there. Is a championship a big goal of yours? Is that something that you just really want to nail down?
Well, yeah, but it also, you know, if there's people out looking for drivers, it helps out a lot, too, if you can win a championship. You know, I've been in this class for 10 years now, and I've finished in the top 10, most of them 10, but closest I've come is 3rd, and hopefully we'll get a 1st sooner or later.
Do you want to get that, or is winning the races? Because you're always good for a half dozen wins during the course of the year.
Yeah, we usually are, but, you know, it depends on how the car's going and what's happening. There's a lot of cars in that class.
So the car this year is brand new. You usually don't have as spectacular of a design as you do this year. Is there some different money there with some different sponsors?
Yeah, well, there's, like I say, Tom Bragg owns the car this year, and I'm just driving it before I own my own car. So, you know, we both do body work, and we're both in the racing, so we should make a good team for the year.
And Tom, of course, is a former competitor and certainly knows the ropes from that end of the business as well. From Dayton Sand and Gravel, I think you know this gentleman today who is presenting the trophy to you, John.
How you doing, Rick? Good race, Rick, and in parts, Dayton Sand and Gravel, the trophy.
Thank you very much, John.
Ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause for Rick Burnett.
Young man that I tend to call Mr. Excitement, Andy Lude, on the point. One of the fastest late models so far in the 1991 season sits to his outside. It's Paul Johnson. Johnson, the man that came from 34th on the American-Canadian Tour opener here at the Beech Ridge Motor Speedway, all the way to 4th. Pace cars the infield pit road. We're looking for a start at turn 4. Green is out. Andy Lude right from the point. Dives into a quick lead. Paul Johnson into 2nd. Bruce Rice is 3rd. Gary Johnson on the move on the outside. Barry Babb coming up the inside. Lude brings him down to lead lap number 1. Lude and Johnson pull away just a bit from Rice. Here comes Barry Babb. He and the 15 tangle. Rice takes it into the infield. Mayetta up against the wall. Pippin around. Yellow flag out as several cars block the backstretch. Caution flag is out. Cars get into the brakes. Flagman Eddie Walsh signals all clear as the drivers glance over to the flag stand, looking for a start at turn 4. Lude and Johnson once again. Green is out. once again jumps into a quick lead, followed by Paul Johnson in the 35. Barry Babb is up to third. Gary Johnson and Bobby Libby vying for the fourth place position. Fourth place position goes to Bobby Libby. Smoke pouring from the front of the 32 of Joe Bowser. Can't tell whether that's just the fender on the tire. It's a little hard to tell just where that's coming from. Kind of looks like it's tire smoke from here. We're going to get a watch on Andy Lude here in another lap. Andy Lude continues to show the way right from the outset. Paul Johnson trying to find a way around that 56 of Andy Lude. Lude records a 15.54 in that last lap. Unofficially 15.54. Very good time for the late model Sportsman here at Beech Ridge Motor Speedway. It will be hard to overtake. Oh, a spin by the number 3 of young Mike Mayetta Jr. right up over the sand pile into the infield. Goes the rookie. Fortunate to be clear of all the traffic. Gets the car back underway. And will look to rejoin the lineup as it appeared as though the car just kind of got out from under him a little bit. Youngster does a nice job of getting out of harm's way. Leader continues to be the 56 of Andy Lude. All kinds of pressure from Paul Johnson. Bobby Babb sets in the outside groove, trying to find a way to the front as he works to the outside of the 37 of Bobby Harrison. Paul Johnson looks to the outside of Andy Lude now after trying a couple of laps to the inside. One and two place cars put some distance on Barry Babb in third. Babb has Gary Pulsifer to his outside, Bobby Libby to the back bumper. Glenn Cusack momentarily boxed in. Bobby Babb has worked his way out and around both the 37 and the 53. Yellow flag is out. Spin by Billy Childs in the two-turn. All the drivers get right on the brakes. Work their way around the 99 of Billy Childs. 10 laps down. Andy Lude, Paul Johnson. Ready to turn it on again at turn 4. Green is out. Andy Lude with a slight advantage as they race to turn 1 and turn 2. Lude puts the whole car ahead now down the backstretch into turn 3 as Paul Johnson now looks for a way under the 56. Has not been able to find a way by either to the inside or the outside. Side-by-side battle for third. Barry Babb to the inside. Gary Pulsifer to the outside. Here comes Bobby Libby up the inside. Bobby Babb on the move in the number 4. Cars from the 5th position on back, stacked right up in a column of 2s. Top 2 begin to pull away once again. Gary Pulsifer once again making a bid to the outside of Barry Babb, challenging for that 3rd position. Bobby Libby momentarily boxed in as he has no place to go but sit at the rear. Paul Johnson dives beneath the 56 of Lude. New leader is Paul Johnson, working lap number 15. Your new leader, Paul Johnson in the number 35. 56 went just a little high, opening it up for the 35 of Paul Johnson. And he has the hammer down, putting a little distance on the 56 now. Cars stacked right up behind Barry Babb. We'll get a watch on the 35 and see what we're getting for time on Paul Johnson. Side-by-side battle from 3rd position on back. Barry Babb has the 3rd spot. Side-by-side now for 4th. Bobby Libby to the inside. Here comes Libby up the inside. Bobby Libby now taking over the third place position. They will be approaching the halfway mark next time by. Bobby Van has taken over the fourth place position as he breaks free of the rest of the pack. Mike Johnson on the move as he takes over the fifth place position. Bobby Libby in third place with a lot of ground to make up, but he's going to close it in and challenge for one of those front positions. Paul Johnson turning about 15.7 second laps. Johnson trying to mount a challenge to the fourth place competitor, Bobby Babb. Mike Johnson challenging from the outside, trying to take over that fourth place position. And he does it, racing into the 3 and 4 turn, out of turn 4. Fourth place now in the hands of former champion Mike Johnson. Bobby Randall has finally broken clear, gets some open track, and he sets his sight on the fifth place car of Bobby Babb. Randall all the way from the back row of the starting lineup. Bob Randall challenging now, trying to take over that fifth place position as he works to the outside of Bobby Babb. Smoke pours from the 2 of Glenn Cusack as he enters the backstretch. There's the smoke as he goes into the corner. Clear out a bit on the straightaway. Five laps to go, indicates flagman Eddie Walsh. Just 5 laps to go. Paul Johnson with a comfortable lead over Andy Lew. Spin in the 2-turn, Casey Nash. And that brings out the yellow before he is able to refire the number 31. Flagman Eddie Welch gives the drivers the all clear as they glance over to the flag stand. Asks them to hold it even. Paul Johnson, Andy Lew draw it even at turn 4. Green is out. Paul Johnson with a jump right off the point. Johnson and Andy Lew right back at the point. Bobby Randall on the move in the number 91 as he tries to draw even with the 34 of Bobby Libby. 01 would be a lap car in there. So you've got Johnson, Lew, Bobby Libby, Bob Randall, and Gary Pelson in your top 5. It will be 2 to go next time by Randall, sideways in the 2-turn, loses all kinds of ground as Randall got out of shape in the 2-turn. 2 laps to go. Paul Johnson, Andy Lew, Bobby Libby, Gary Pulsifer. Pulsifer sideways in the one turn, loses it. Randall misses him, but Gary Pulsifer backs the car toward the outside. Yellow flag comes out. Tough break for Gary Pulsifer, as he appeared to perhaps get in something a little slippery there in the one turn, and the back end of the car just got out from under him. Appears as though the 27 seemed to hit a slippery spot, got the car turned about, and now finds himself from a spot in the top 5 to the tail end of the lineup with 2 laps to go. Lights go out on the pace car. Flagman Eddie Walsh indicates all clear to the drivers as they work the backstretch. 2 laps to go. One more time, Paul Johnson and Andy Lew draw it even off turn 4. Green is out. Johnson with the advantage once again. Bobby Libby makes a bid to the inside, dives beneath the 56 of Andy Lew, takes over second place. Bobby Libby now sets his sights on the 35 of Paul Johnson. White flag in the air for Johnson. Here comes Lew back up the inside. Paul Johnson once again stretching out his lead. Bobby Libby has taken over second. Andy Lew is third. Flag in the air for Paul Johnson. Bobby Libby, Andy Lew is sideways. Loses it in the 1 and 2 turn. Mention Andy Lew's a hard charger, and that's no understatement. You know he's the type of driver at the end that's going to have the throttle through the firewall if there's any way to do it. Paul Johnson out of Hollis, Maine will parade the colors, driving a 1990 Buick Regal. Car is owned by Tootsie and Charlie Johnson. Sponsors are Claire Buick and NASCO Machine, along with Superior Design, Rab Distributors, Smith's General Store, Future Incorporated, Ray Melanson Carpet. Paul Johnson was the 3rd place finisher in the 1990 season, as he coasts down to return the colors to Flagman Eddie Walsh.
Paul Johnson, congratulations. A nice win for you at the early season.
Thanks, Andy. I tell you, there's a big, tough crowd out there. I tell you, to win one of these, you know, you got to do good. We lucky enough to start up front and had some heavy pressure there. But I want to thank my crew, my sponsors. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't be here this week. We got wrecked a little last week, but this makes it worth it.
You know, a lot of people were favoring Andy Lew in that race. They said when Andy Lew starts in the pole position with a car like he's got, he's not going to be beat. And you proved him wrong. And surprisingly, you took him on the inside, and we all thought you were going to have to do it on the outside. What was happening when that move took place?
Oh, I thought I was going to go on the outside. Andy's a real tough competitor, and if you get around him, I tell you, you know, you don't got to work for him. It's either an off day for him, but he had a real good day, and he slipped up a little coming out of the 4 turn, and that created a little bit of opening for us. That's all we needed. You know, the car was really going good. It's been going good all year, and I think we're here for this year to give everybody a threat.
Well, I think probably the way you ran today, you certainly will. You survived some of the restarts. You were very strong today. Patricia Tarbox from Dayton Sand and Gravel Company has the presentation for you. Patricia?
Congratulations, Paul. On behalf of Dayton Sand and Gravel, it was a good job.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate these sponsors like that. They help us out a lot. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, a nice round of applause for Paul Johnson.
At turn 4, green flag. Lead A with a slight advantage over Bobby Cotton and Stevie Howard in the 03. Bobby Cotton fights back on the outside, trying not to let go of that share of the lead, but it's Lee Day out of the 4-turn, brings him down to lead lap number 1. Battle now for second. Steve Howard on the inside, Bobby Cotton to the outside as the top 3 try to break away just a little bit. Tony Field in a side-by-side battle there. Now the 69 of Tim Maloney takes over the 4th place position. Dave Sprague on the move in the number 1. Cars stretch out just a little bit. Here comes the number 6 out of the pack, Ken McLeod. Shown a lot of strength here every week with a number 6. Now on the move, also Danny Palmer and Kevin Durgan on the move. Stevie Howard stretching out a lead now over Lee Day. But the man on the move appears to be the number 6 of Ken McLeod. McLeod trying to rein in the 3 of former leader Lee Day. Draws it side by side as they race the front stretch to the 1 turn. Takes over the 2nd spot as they come out of 2 down the backstretch. Ken McLeod now sets his sights on race leader Steve Howard in the 03. Ken McLeod appearing to little by little close the gap between himself and race leader Steve Howard. Dave Sprague trying to find a way out around the 17, gets a little loose. Denny Palmer dives to the inside. Tony Field takes his 11 on a pit road. If Stevie Howard turning about a 16-8. Leaders have just pulled away from the rest of the pack. Danny Palmer trying to break away. Works his way out and around the 17 of Bobby Cotton. The number 6 of Ken McLeod has now closed it right up on Steve Howard. Ken McLeod now trying to decide. Looks to the outside as Steve Howard holds the car on the rail. Gets a little wide out of turn 4. Bubba Pelton now trying it 3 wide as he works to the outside of the Channel One video car of Dave Sprague. Meanwhile, the 89 is trying to the inside. Pelton has to back out of it. Pelton was last week's feature winner in the 27. Got to be frustrated. He's boxed in. The 6 takes over. The nice move down the backstretch into the 3-turn. Your new leader in lap number 10, Ken McLeod. Ken McLeod, all kinds of power in that number 6. Problems on the number 5. David Bath, experiencing problems, has to take the car on a pit road. Side-by-side battle shaping up for 3rd. Kevin Durgan working his way out and around the 93 of Danny Palmer. Durgan now will set his sights on the race leaders. Number 7 still trying to sort out the chassis, as many of these crews are with a rather unfamiliar setup. Obviously going to take them a while to get them all dialed in. The man who seems to have the combination is Ken McLeod. Approaching the halfway mark now. 15 down, 15 to go. Ken McLeod continues to put some distance on the 2nd place competitor Steve Howard. Howard has about a straightaway lead, a little better than a straightaway lead over Kevin Durgan and Danny Palmer. Then comes Chris Rule. Last week's feature winner, the 27 Bubba Pelton. Still trying to find a way around Lee Day and Dave Sprague. Has not been able to do it. Pelton's 27 was very strong. Won with a commanding lead last week, but has certainly had his problems getting through the pack because had to start at the tail end, and he has had great difficulty trying to find a way around the number 3 of Lee Day and the number 1 of Dave Sprague. He tried it 3 wide. Now he's right down on the rail. See if he can find a way under the number 3. And as yet, not been able to do it. Ken McLeod getting into traffic now. Will have to try to lap some of his competitors here in the Super Sportsman division, looking to work his way around Butch Buzzell. Talked to Butch Buzzell earlier, and he said, boy, it's a whole new game. We're really having that problems getting the Ford set up. So we're going to do it. It's going to take a little while, but fully expect to see that number 15 be very competitive. Bubba Pelton now working to the outside of Lee Day. Finally puts it ahead as they race the front stretch to the 1 turn. Certainly took a long time to work his way out and around. Laps to go. 25 down, 25 to go. Problems on the Dave Sprague machine. Battle now shaping up between Kevin Durgan and Chris Rule. As Chris Rule has steadily worked his way up to battle now with the 3rd place competitor, Kevin Durgan. Be just 2 laps to go this time by for race leader Ken McLeod in the number 6. Smoke from the Russ Johnson machine as he gets a little out of shape in the 2 turn. White flag in the air for Ken McLeod. Steve Howard in the 03. Then the 7 of Kevin Durgan, the 14 of Chris Rule, and the 93 of Danny Palmer. Checkered flag in the air now for Ken McLeod as he collects his 2nd feature event of the year in the all-new Super Sportsman division. Steve Howard, Kevin Durgan, Chris Rule, and Danny Palmer round out the top 5. Ken McLeod coasts down to collect up the colors from flagman Eddie Walsh. He'll parade the checkered flag and be back to be at trackside in just a few moments. Ken McLeod driving a 1990 Pontiac Grand Prix. Car is owned by Spanky Anderson, sponsored by the Jensen Service Center, Ace Hardware, Jim's Auto Parts, Hobbies Plus, Southern Maine Signs, and Jensen's Auto Body. Ken McLeod.
Ken McLeod, congratulations. How you doing? Ken, the car looked really good out there. You were noticeably hands and heads above everybody else out there. Have you figured out the combination before anybody else, do you feel?
Yeah, I think I got lucky. It's going real good. Couldn't improve on it too much.
Well, you had the late model Sportsman experience, and did that help out with the Super Sportsman?
Yeah, I think it helped out because I'm used to the speeds. Makes it a lot easier for me.
What about setup-wise, because you had a chance to use some of that?
Yeah, I did learn quite a bit last. Even though I didn't go the whole season, I learned quite a bit.
Well, you did an incredible job today. We certainly congratulate you. The presentation from Dayton Sand and Gravel.
Congratulations, Ken, on behalf of Dayton Sand and Gravel, and a job well done.
And a hat.
Congratulations for what you've done. A good racer, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, win number 2 out of 3 for Ken McLeod. A nice round of applause. Ken, congratulations.
The B team of the Wildcats, ready to do battle. A little bit different from what you've seen so far today. Ready for a start out of turn 4. Green is out. The 38 and the 88 jump into a quick lead. 38 is Greg Young. Working from the outside, the 88 in second place is Ron Harriman. Working up the inside is the 14 for Treen. He is Steve Emery. Greg Young continues to show the way. Steve Emery have a car stalled on the backstretch. He'll bring out the red flag. Takes a while for these guys to realize it. Oh, car up on its side, back on its wheels. Raymond Remington in the number 21. They're going to just take these cars around to close it up. But the 38 is right back in the lead. That's Greg Young showing the way. 21 is a lap car that went into the infield. 14 is your second place car unofficially. That's Steve Emery. Cars racing 4 abreast. They tangle in the one turn. Cars tangle there in the one turn. Most of the field gets right back on by. There's several cars still sitting there. 21 involved once again, along with the number 60. Of course, these Wildcats don't have radios, so evidently there's one guy going to try some signals over there in the 3 and 4 turn area. Officials trying to make sure that all these cars will start. Green flag is out. We got some people anticipating the flags here, but that comes with being a rookie, right? New leader right up the inside. That is the number 98 of Timothy McDonald. Jumps into a quick lead. Chuck Willoughby in the 84 takes over second. The 6 coming right up the inside also. That's Dennis Smith in the number 6. Side-by-side battle for second place position, but 6 is going to take over that position. 63 on the move now into the 3 turn down the back stretch. 63 gets real wide out of turn 4. That's Steve Pluth in the 63. A lot of smoke pouring from the Chuck Willoughby machine now. That's the 84 on the backstretch down into the 3 turn. Leader continues to be the 98 of Timothy McDonald out of Hollis Center. Heavy smoke pouring from the 5 of Dennis Smith, Troy Leach rather, and the 84 of Chuck Willoughby. Halfway point. unofficially continues to be the 98 of Timothy McDonald, followed by the 63. 63 driven by Steve Clough. Number 5 skids into the wall, spins the car right around. The 5 driven by Troy Leach. Evidently radiator failure, bring out the caution flag. 2 cars up off the 2-turn also. It will be realignment time once again. Behind race leader Timothy McDonald. McDonald is followed by the 63, Steve Clough. The 63 gets the jump this time. That's Steve Clough. Takes over the lead right on the restart. Second place, Timothy McDonald. Battle for third, 54. Is James Keys. We're right back to caution once again. '17 sits disabled at the end of the backstretch. Green is out, this time from a rolling start. Once again, it's the 63 of Steve Clough, jumping into a lead over the 98 of Timothy McDonald. Then comes the 54 of James Keys, your top 3. 58, making a challenge, Rob Pendleton. Smoke continues to pour from the 84 Chuck Wilby. He decides to take it on a pit road. 54 gets a little sideways in the 3 and 4 turn. Your race leader gets a lot sideways. Second place contender gets into him and takes it right around. The 98 Timothy McDonald. Leader continues to be the 63 of Steve Clough. A couple of challenges now coming to his rear bumper. The 54 of James Keys. And it looks like the 58 doing battle for second. Rob Pendleton trying to find a way around that 54. James Keys. Tangle over in the 3 and 4 turn. Safety man signals it's okay. All kinds of smoke, and that's bound to make it tough for these drivers. Leaders tangle once again. Leader continues to be, with 2 laps to go, the 63 of Steve Clough. The 54 of James Keys. Then comes the 58 of Rob Pendleton. These are unofficial standings, obviously. It's a scorer's nightmare, as you might gather. 63, unofficially the leader. White flag being given to the 63. Then comes 54 and 58 to be your top 3. Clough. Pass now on the backstretch by the 54 of James Keys. Keys takes over the lead. Young man who did well last year. Checkered flag in the air as he tangles. 2 more cars tangle. Rough afternoon for the Wildcats as several cars come together. Unofficially, the 63 is our winner. That's Steve Clough. It is unofficial. Scorers will have to go back and be sure that other cars up front were not a lap down. So unofficially, Steve Clough wins the first event for the B team of the 1991 season for the Wildcats. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings to a close our afternoon of racing here at Beech Ridge Motor Speedway.